Welcome to They Think It's All Sober, Sami.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good, thanks, man. Really, really good. It's surreal to be here.
Well, it's quite a full circle moment, isn't it? 'Cause we met on the boat, season 1.
Yeah.
And you managed one of our first guests.
Yeah.
And you weren't sober at the time.
I wasn't.
And now you are.
I think you turned up and cracked a beer actually while we were doing the.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
What happened actually was I was on the train. I was in the pretty much the height of my addiction, let's say. I was, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. I'm going to They Think It's All Sober podcast. I'm not going to drink today. And then got off at Paddington, not going to drink today, not going to drink today. Find myself in M&S, not going to drink today, not going to drink today. Find myself with 4 of the 8% G&T cans, not going to drink today. And then, then I started drinking. And I think I told you guys I hadn't, which is part of the addiction that comes with it. I even had a drink at a bar outside. And then you offered me a non-alcoholic beer when we got there. And I've realized now that I'm sober, people that are hiding being sober are really bad at it. So I was probably like, yeah, well, I'll have a non-alcoholic beer, guys. And then you said, we've got real beer if you want. So I think just before you started, I was like, I actually have one of the real ones.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to, drink with Tom afterwards. And then we had I listened to your guys' podcast whilst under the influence. And it really hit home for me. A lot of my issues, I knew for ages I had issues, but I never thought I was an alcoholic. But sitting there watching my friend and you guys talk about this stuff, I was honored to be there because I love the podcast, but I felt like a lie. I felt like, it felt wrong. And then we spoke about it afterwards. We went for dinner and then we drove home, and on the way home I think we stopped at a garage and I bought more G&Ts and I remember you said to me, you were like, afterwards you text me like, man, you complimented me. You said, dude, you're really wise. You've got a lot going for yourself. If you were sober, things would really go well for you. And that was one of many things that led me to decide to be sober. So being here is really, really surreal.
Mate, it's why we really wanted to get you on as well, because I think it's so fascinating. Because obviously I hate saying like the work we do, but we kind of obviously have a relationship with people in our DMs or in our Patreon community, and a lot of people speak about it. And it wasn't until I think you and I caught up somewhere, I can't remember where it was, a couple of months ago. Yeah, that's it. And it was like you being in the room and me not knowing that you were going through what you were going through, and kind of being in front of us in the embryonic stage of the podcast. I think it was like episode 6 or 7 to where you are now. It's just like, I don't know, we talk about the universe a lot in Sobriety, but that just feels like, yeah, maybe the world put you there. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I just got goosebumps when you said that. Because one of the main things that's kept me sober is kind of my belief in the universe, my newfound faith. And I don't think there's kind of accidents or coincidences. Oh, sorry, I think that they're not coincidences. I think that, there's something in them. And when I saw you at that wedding, it was your wedding, I think.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah. It's like, whose wedding could it be? Oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah. And I was really uncomfortable for a lot of it, other than obviously happy to be there and celebrate you, but I just wasn't right there. And it was actually quite comforting coming to talk to you. And, that's why I think it's so important that you're doing this. I'm in a 12-step program. I spoke to Tom about this before, and you said like, I don't think I need a 12-step program, but in a way you've got your own one. Because you guys come and speak. The benefits of the 12-step program really are just community, talking about what you're going through. Is 90% about thinking and 10% about not drinking. It's about dealing with life and having the tools to deal with life as it comes at you, and not have to resort to self-medicating essentially. And what you guys are doing is similar to that. You have a community, you're vulnerable, you're open, you allow people to have a safe space to share about their problems. And through that, I've got personally some of my friends who don't go to a 12-step program really benefit from this. I had a phone call with Wezzy on the way here, and he was so excited. He was like, it's my favorite podcast, I listened to it, my best friend's gonna be on it. He doesn't go to a 12-step program, but he listens to this religiously, and I have to put hats off, man, because obviously it influenced me in a way that now I'm 10 days away from being a year sober.
Fuck yeah.
Isn't that mad?
Yeah, Christ, because we would have recorded that episode in like June or July, so it must have been pretty soon after.
Yeah, man.
That happened. But it's beautiful for us, and like we sometimes don't see it, and it's not like a self-congratulatory thing, because that's the opposite of why we do this, right? But we had someone actually come up to us at Reading, this beautiful guy that was just like, yeah, man, like the pod's really helped, and it's really relatable. And again, like, it was funny. I was talking to my girlfriend about this the other day because I was talking about therapy, and I haven't done active therapy for quite some time, post sort of like sobriety being good. She was like, would you go again? I was like, yeah, do you know what, I would, but it's so odd because I find this so therapeutic, and it's almost reversed because it's very little about me speaking outwardly, but it's more about like listening and absorbing other people's journeys. And for me, like now being kind of an introverted extrovert in sobriety, I get so much more from hearing other people's journeys than I do from speaking about mine.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, for me, that's therapy, because I'm just in these beautiful conversations, and that's accountability, not even in sobriety, just in like my mental state.
100%. And I think, again, that's why it's synonymous with these 12-step programs in a way, because you go there and you listen to other people. When someone else shares how they're getting on with life and, you know, the way that they think, and, you know, you're in it together, essentially, you feel comfort in knowing that you're not the only one. I think the biggest things that make people depressed, you know, isolation, anxiety, things that you feel like you're not connected. As soon as you hear someone else talk about problems that you can relate to, you're like, I'm not the only person feeling this thing. And there's comfort in that. And that's something you hear in people who have, you know, most people that are in recovery are really sick people, like in a positive way. Sick as in good. Like interesting people. Like, you know, I had someone say the other day, like, most people in recovery just were too much fun. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's
true.
No one stops drinking because they had a boring life. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's true. It's true. And just to kind of deviate for a sec, like I think you're the only person I've actually ever who was in probably like a cycle of unhealthy drinking. Like I've actually text saying you'd benefit from sobriety, and only because I'd never do that. But actually, I know you're, you know, just from being a very close friend, that you've always been like a deep thinker and would actually take it on board, and not as like some people would, you know, be like a mirror up moment and reject it, and, you know, perhaps just react not in a positive way.
Yeah.
I knew that it would probably have an impact at some point, but I think let's get into let's get into it.
Yeah, do you know what was nice? I just felt that was like a very different format to what we normally do, but I felt like that context of how we all got here was important.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's great that you're at a point in your journey where you're sort of approaching a year, and how it has been a full circle, kind of synonymous with us starting the podcast, you know, you being there and that infancy of it, and now kind of being on now, and all of the kind of great stuff you're up to, both, you know, from artist perspective, but also like business, which we'll get into as
However,
well.
Tom, something is bubbling. Something's bubbling inside of me, and I think it's a good old time machine.
I think it is. So let's take
that was
let's take
Coke
it
Zero
back.
I canned about 10 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, let's take it back.
Step inside, baby. Let's go.
Okay.
And we're back to young Sami, growing up. So I guess just for the context of our listeners' benefit, what were your first like memories of drinking?
Okay. My first memory of drinking was being in Ireland. My mum, it comes from a place in West Cork called Allihies. Well, Garnish is where I'm from, but the nearest kind of village is Allihies. It's one street with a really beautiful view. It's got 3 pubs and a post office, and a park. And I never really drank until I was about 16, because where I grew up with my friends, kind of like the boys smoked weed, the girls drank. If you drank, you were slipping type scenario, which is hilarious now in hindsight. But I went to Ireland. My cousin gave me a double vodka Red Bull, and I drank
Get at the fucking deep end, Sammy. Christ.
Yeah, 100%.
Most people like you're at a carling.
Yeah.
You're like liquid speed.
Yeah, literally. And I remember going for a wee and looking in the mirror and being like, Jesus, this is it. That's pretty good. Like, like you know, some people say I didn't start drinking chaotically then, but I remember being like, you know, I've been missing out. This is pretty good. And now I've kind of learned what that is. That's you know, calming your nervous system down, making you think less and just act inhibitionless. And then I continued to do that for 16 years, getting worse and worse. But yeah, that was my first memory of drinking. But then I just kind of drank like normal guys at school, like parties and college parties, and, you know, yeah, it's only really later down the line when I started drinking more heavily to be worried about it. I probably should have known in the beginning, because I would never drink just like a couple beers. I'd always want to have as much as as possible and go to the after party, etc., etc.
At that point, even when you were kind of in your sort of teenage years and the idea of like chasing the after party or chasing the next thing, did you ever feel like you were using alcohol as like a tool? Like, what was it giving you?
Confidence is one thing. I've kind of learned recently that people that have a certain gene, or people that go through, some forms of trauma, or people that turn into alcoholics, essentially, when they drink, they get a certain buzz and it continues the more they drink. Where, for example, my partner will have a few glasses of wine and be like, if I have another one, I'll be really, really tired. Where I'm like, have another drink. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's a little bit off topic, but I just came back from Margate for my girlfriend's birthday. And we went out and everything. And the next morning, everyone woke up hungover, and I went to get everyone coffees every morning. And I was like, guys, have a shot in your coffee. You'll feel great. Do you want me to make Bloody Marys? But I was like trying to drink through them. Like, I've done that numerous times. So my girlfriend's like, stop trying to drink through me. Yeah.
They're not like you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, have a whiskey in your coffee, obviously. Don't feel like shit. Like on New Year's Eve, she had it was like 11:30. We stayed in, and I was like, have a glass of wine for New Year's Eve. Looked at the shop was closed. I was like, oh, there's another one 20 minutes away. We'll go for a walk. Walk to the shop. She picked up a small bottle of wine. I was like, you might want more. Get the big bottle. She was like, you're doing it again. It's mad. It just, the reason why I'm saying this is my perception of drink is clearly not the same as other people.
Yeah.
I see it as I see it almost like medicine. You will feel good
like
that, and then you'll feel better. Then you have another one, you feel better, and do you know what I mean? Until you like break down and ruin your life.
But until you realise that you're right, that actually most people, and it's the same with my wife Sarah. She's like, we'll go out, have 2 ciders at like a festival, and then just be like, cool, that was it. And I'm like, how have you just done that?
Yeah.
Even though like...
What's the secret, gypsy?
Yeah, because I was like, not that I necessarily needed to take it like so far all the time, but for me, I don't think I could have fathomed going to like a slam dunk. She had like 2 ciders over the whole day. If I was going to a festival and I was drinking, I was drinking.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, honestly, I don't think there's ever been really a time in my life where I've had a pint.
No.
Like legit was always just like self-destruct button
Yeah.
on, and that doesn't mean self-destruct is in staying up all night, but even like say us 3 would go for a few beers now afterwards, like I still have 4 beers, and then I might be like, my car's here, but then I might be like, yeah, but Tash lives around the corner, so maybe I'll text her and see if she's up for like having a couple of people over. Then but this gig's on, so then I can meet these people, then I've called. So it's like, even with the best of intentions of like, I'll just have a couple of beers with you guys, I was always chasing the thing. And I think you're right. I think whether that's like suppressed trauma or running away from it, or like environmental behaviors, there are certain people just programmed in a very different way,
100%,
which is tapped.
yeah, literally. And I think like some people, it might be genetics, it might be like something that's happened, it might be a certain neurodivergent thing that we don't know about. It's difficult to see, but also, as all 3 of us are quite well connected in the industry and always have there's always someone who will go and do it. Like if I come to London for a studio session, I used to know I'd be there for 3-4 days, and I'd always find someone. There's always something going on. You have to make a drastic change to get out of that cycle, because if you have whatever we have, and there's always something going on.
I think it's called being a legend. I'm addicted to being a geek.
Yeah, bloody heck, mate. Double legend.
Were you aware that, I guess, like your journey of drinking, I guess, through like teens to like early 20s, would you say it was pretty typical in terms of like everyone else around you? It was quite similar, or were you aware that you were even then like pushing the boat out?
When I went to uni, which I didn't last long in, I definitely, realized probably drinking more than others. But I just thought, for so long, I thought I was rock and roller, man. So long I thought, you know what, I'm 27 Club, like, I'm going to be a famous artist and I'm going to die. And it's going to be sick, because life's so painful, Like I used to always think that the only joy really, and look back at old lyrics I wrote, like the only joy is through drink or drugs.
Mm-hmm. And there's that notion as well, like the only true freedom is in death.
Yeah.
Which is
exactly
great. I used to have that same energy. It's like, what the hell?
100%.
Like obsessed with the macabre.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and then like, have such heavy sessions that you don't know if the next morning you might wake up, and then like being okay with that. And being messed up in your head and like envisioning your funeral. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Mate, I had this same conversation with someone the other day, and we were like, it was actually at Reading. We were talking about like, is it an ego thing to imagine your own funeral and who was there, or is it just like something that some of us have programmed in us? But I mate, all the time, I've lived my own funeral on a million nights out,
100%.
like laying in bed, couldn't sleep,
Is this
convinced
it?
I was gonna have a heart attack.
I guess it's kind of a
Who'd
way.
turn up?
Exactly, yeah.
Who'd fight?
Yeah. Who'd be doing lines in the toilet?
I've always said my funeral songs. Side note, right?
Okay.
Adagio for strings.
Sick.
Yeah, as my body's being raised up, and then it goes into Tiesto version. Lasers come on. My body bursts into flames.
That is
Boom.
epic.
Osman's dead.
Sounds like you want the Chevron stage for your funeral.
Mate, imagine that.
I
Imagine
can see
that.
it now. That's epic. At least everyone would definitely. Well, you imagine a better funeral than me, man.
Was yours just like
Mine
one
was like
person?
really sad. Ludovico Einaudi piano, and everyone must cry. And I'm joking. I don't know.
No, I want the tears. That's what I want. I want the strings for the tears. I want everyone to be like, he's gone, and then it's like,
Then you want the party.
fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Even in
it
death.
seems like we're still obsessed with the macabre. Like, we're like
Yeah, true.
envisioning the shit. But now this is the thing. I also thought when I stopped drinking that I'd die. Like my personality would die, my spirit would die, my sense of self would die. Little did I know on the other side of that coin was an eternity of beauty. Do you know what I mean? I literally feel like nearly a year in, a completely different person. I've shedded the skin. I've shedded 14 kilograms. But I just wanted to throw that in there. But I've shedded my...
Bro, you can tell. As he walked in, I was like, sheesh, haven't seen this man in 8 months. Look at him.
Thanks
Mate, he's
a
on it.
million.
Mate, you've
Fished
handed
that one in
it over
100%.
to me since my wedding. I'm trying to get it back off.
Yeah, you looked fucking...
That's
you
why
looked
I went.
great.
He was
You
just
looked at
shoving it
your
on
wedding.
the
I
he
was
was shoving it on the
bloody
hors
hell.
d'oeuvres.
You looked really confident at your wedding and comfortable. And I was like, this
Oh,
whole
was it?
thing looks so stressful. As a sober person, I used to want to have a massive 3-day wedding in Ireland, like a lot of my cousins have. Big party in the beautiful West Cork. And now I can't imagine anything worse. I looked at you at your wedding. I was like, man, he's so sober right now. Oh,
Mate, like, but even then I had my sober mask on because I wasn't feeling good in myself.
Dude,
but
it's a
like,
difficult one. Now my whole idea of the wedding, when I have a wedding, obviously, is so different. I'm like, okay, fly away with just small family and friends.
Bro, I'm the
3
same.
hour.
I'm fully with you. It's funny. I used to have that thing of like, I'll have 40,000 people at my wedding,
Exactly,
and I'll
yeah.
get Tiesto to Tom, give him a call.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
was, I was waiting for you
406.
to name drop. Yeah. Like,
No, I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. It's too many versions. But so so you're at uni. Drinking's pretty intense.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, we're going wild.
No,
with
yeah,
peace here.
that's my bad
Body
too.
of peace.
I-
But so like you drop out of uni.
yeah.
You're doing music stuff. You're in sessions.
Yeah.
You're being creative.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how does like drink and everything else play out at this point?
So I got signed to Black Magic Studios when I was like 15, 16. And I went up to this studio, amazing studio in the outskirts of Reading with Twan, who's my OG. And the older guys would drink and smoke in the studio. And I thought like that was the way to be creative. I thought that's how you access it. Then I took it too far. I started going to studio sessions as a 18, 19. And when I really started coming into London in the main, like bigger rooms was like 2021 probably, and till now, I guess. But for those years, I used to always turn up with drink. I don't think I had the only sober session I really remember having was Temperature, which is probably the best song I've written for myself. But I thought that everyone just drank in the studio. And then when I stopped drinking, no one's drinking in the studio. I realized if you bring drink to a studio session with musicians, they're more likely going to drink with you. And I was quite, I've realized I was quite known afterwards. I realized like, oh, I'm with Sami today, that it's going to be a party. But what I didn't realize is some people are like, don't really want to invite Sami because it's going to be a party. You know what I mean? I think it happened probably with our working relationship. Like I remember I came to you one morning and I'm ashamed to say this, but I was having a drink in the morning one day and you were like, what the fuck, bro? Even you were saying that. And man,
Even you.
and you know how to party, man. So me and Liz were talking about it the other day about how we went out with you on a school night to Oakford for a couple. And you were like, champagne, you were like, shots. And then we stayed up very late. I think Liz was ill the next day.
Yeah.
It's weird because now I don't see you. Obviously, your new persona and new person is like how I see you and your character. But every now and then I get a flashback. I was like, you were really wild, man.
I was. But do you know what? It's weird that you say that, because even now I still want people to like party and have a time if they
Be
want
a little
to.
bit scared of me.
Like, but like even being away on Ibiza, like with Sarah and like a load of her mates, I'm still like, cool, I'll get people champagne. Like, let's do it. I still want people to like, if they want to do
100%.
it. And but yeah, I mean, it's true.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Me too. Like, I know we're going. Sorry, I keep bringing you off topic, but I at first didn't really want to be around drink, but now I'm quite comfortable to be. I don't want anyone to act differently around me. My friends have been quite open with their substance, whether it's alcohol, whatever, in front of me, and like obviously I might just leave at some point, but I don't want anyone to stop. I don't want to suddenly be like, I don't really want Sami to come because he might be on. We can't do that thing. Do you know what I mean? As you know, from being on my birthday in Ibiza on my 30th, as the only sober person.
Okay, yeah,
that was chaotic, bro.
Yeah, and that must have been. How long ago was that?
Nearly 2 years ago now.
Yeah, so I guess that was you like full force.
Yeah.
In the thick of the sesh, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the amount of everything at that party.
I mean, that boat was expensive, but the boat, the actual vessel wasn't.
Yeah, my God. But I guess talk us through, I guess, the years going up to when you started realizing, because we comment on this all the time actually, that the time where you realize that things might be problematic to the point where you stop is way longer than you hope it would ever be.
Yeah, 100%.
So when did you realize that like this is problematic?
I knew this would happen. I'm cautious to be really raw because I'm like, my parents might listen, or my friends might listen. Do you know what I mean? Stuff that you hold close to your chest. But
they will.
This is the point of it, I guess. I've done two big things in the last 2 weeks. One was to tell my parents that I've got a problem with drinking. That's why I'm not drinking. And I go to a 12-step program. And one is to come on this podcast because, and the reason why I'm scared of that is because it makes it final. And I don't drink one day at a time. I don't think I'll ever drink again. But also the little part of me goes, but if you do this, people will, you know what I mean? Which is terrifying. But then that's the kind of
also the beauty and accountability, right?
Exactly. And I'm enjoying it so much. So I don't want to take away from that. I noticed probably about 5 years ago, when it stops being cute, when people like, I was pretty good at not being destructive, but I was not reliable. Some people might have stopped working with me. I only realized this in hindsight. I would go too hard and too tight. I was sick a lot. I was depressed. I wasn't making much money. Musician, feast or famine. Like 3 months of the year I was rich. The rest I was clutching on straws, But one big one was that I got flown to Jamaica to work with on Effie, Ada Rose's album, with one of the guys from Major Lazer, and they flew me, Cam and Effie out. And it was an open bar. It was amazing. It was at the top of a mountain at G Jam Studios, and it was incredible, opportunity of a lifetime. This is the same period of time that my mum had cancer. And it was COVID. So I was in the thick of it. And when I got the call saying, do you want to come and write on this album in Jamaica? I'm like, the heavens have opened, And then I just get on a sesh the day before the flight, and I sesh all the way through the flight. And I nearly didn't go on the plane, and sesh on the plane, sesh on the, sesh. And then, we wrote some great songs. I had a great time. It wasn't all bad. I had a really beautiful time, but I drank from morning till night because it was an open bar. And I did other things, and I just basically, halfway through the trip, my best friends Cam and Effie came and sat me down, and they were like, "You're fucking this up for us. You're making other people party. You're a mess." Like, it was a really emotional. Everyone was drinking, but not like me. You know what I mean? And I'm in paradise, and my best friends are giving me an intervention. That trip was tough. That coming home from that trip was tough, because they both said to me, we love you, but we just can't work with you professionally right now. And that's, you know, I haven't told the story to anyone, not my partner, not my friends, because it's quite personal. And they came to see me. I was in Essex at that time, and they met me at a bar. I said, let's meet at a bar. They were like, let's go to a coffee shop. I was like, no, meet at a bar, because I knew it was going to be serious. Where I had a couple of beers, they didn't. And it was right next to a friendship bridge, which I just remembered right now, which is weird. And they kind of just said, we love you, we can't work with you. We think you have a problem. It's mad looking back at that now, because, you know, it's like I'm such a different person now, but, you know, that's what happens. It grabs you and you don't realize it. It takes you slowly from those few years, probably something to do with my mum having cancer, some of the troubles I was going through, my mental health. The music industry is difficult, you know, and it's when you live in a way of woe is me, everything's difficult, self-pity party, that's where the addiction really grabs you. And I didn't realize how bad it was until two people like this sat in front of me and go, we can't work with you now. Like, you really messed up a big opportunity. I didn't mess it up, but it could have been better. Let's put it that way. That, you know, I'm my father's son. I want to be proud. I want to be the man who does good things to help people around me, not the burden. And that fucking killed me. So I said, I'm not going to drink. I promise you both, I'm not going to drink until I think it was Effie's birthday, where we had a Halloween party ticket booked, and that was like 4 months or something. I'm not going to drink to that. Promise, I'm not going to drink you. And I shook both their hands. This is still, we're not going to work with you, because we're just going to see what happens. That was the first time I tried to get sober, basically. I didn't drink for those 4 months. I was working in a bar part-time, and you know, one beer was flat, and the guy was like, the customer complained, and the manager was like, Sami, can you see if this is flat? I'm like, no, I'm not drinking. Like, once I've shook my friend's hand, I'm like solid, word is bond. You know, I didn't drink for those 4 months. Life was getting pretty, better things were happening, but I didn't give up alcohol. And the reason why I didn't give up alcohol is because I didn't surrender to the fact that I'm an alcoholic and I can't drink. I knew in the back of my mind one day I was going to drink again. When Halloween came, I got tickets from my friend Shermanology to come and see them perform. So, and we had the Halloween party, and the nighttime, I bought a bunch packet. I got on the train. I went to my friend's house. I sat there. They were getting ready. I poured a vodka and Fanta. And while they were in the shower, I remember looking at it for fucking like 20 minutes. I was like, I haven't said this to anyone, guys. You lot just get in the shower. And, and I'm just looking at it and being like, I'm not like, is this the beginning of the end again? Like, oh, I've got control this time. Blah, blah, blah. I sat there looking at it for fucking ages. Anyway, when they got out of the shower, I was like, and then I was off, you know. Had a great night, had a great party. It wasn't all bad, you know. We've had some fun. I've had some great times. But then, you know, I can't even remember, man. Give it a few weeks, give it a month or two, and I was back in a similar position. And people, you know, I'm loved. I've got great fucking friends. But when the energy changes between you and a friend, when they start looking at you a bit like, mate, breaks my heart, because I am, you know, I'm the son of a proud Tunisian, you know, immigrant who's lived an amazing life. You know, my dad, and Aisha both had a hard time, and they've made it here, and they're like really proud people. And I've always felt like I could, you know, have something to offer to the world and to my friendship group. That's my world, and then the external world. And when people start looking at you a little bit like, when maybe Tom doesn't want to work with me, because it's like, you know, when these things start happening, it breaks me. So that kind of turned into a repetitive cycle where I'd stopped for a while, and I was sober curious. And only until last year at Rook's wedding, which was the wedding of the summer, you know, beautiful like settings. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but it was an open bar. It was amazing. Everyone was looking forward to it. Everyone was dapper. You know, I was on a sesh for the few days before. I woke up on the day of the wedding. I pour a vodka Red Bull while my girlfriend's out quickly, because I've got the shakes, go to the wedding. First hour, cool, like had a nice time, and everyone's on vibes. But slowly throughout the day, I was drinking, and it just wasn't working. I saw Tom dancing with another sober guy and Alex Green. I can't remember the other guy's name. And I just wasn't working. I was doing packet, I was drinking, and it just wasn't working. And people were like, Sami, dance. And I'm so normally I don't want to say the life of the party.
No, but you're there. You're
Exactly.
Vibesman.
I'm definitely being a certified vibesman for many of my years. But I didn't have those vibes, and I was sad. I had what I learned now is spiritual malady. I was not okay. And like, everyone's going, what's going on? You're right, blah, blah. I remember going up to you. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if I've told you this. I went up to you, Alex, and another guy. And was like, how are you guys doing this? Like, you're having fun and you're sober. What the fuck? I literally couldn't compute it. And you know, that's when Alex said, should we have a talk outside? And I went outside with Alex. You've always kind of given me support, but you've done something great, which I want to get into afterwards. And I imagine you have too with your close friends, which is you've helped people get sober by the law of attraction. You haven't tried to make people sober, but by you're changing yourself and making your life beautiful, people want to do it. And that's more powerful than telling. So when I spoke to Alex Green outside, I said, what's up? And I just spilled my guts. I said, man, I've hidden bottles. I'm drinking like too much. And I spoke to him like he was a friend of a friend. We knew each other. We were cool. But now he's like a really, really close friend of mine. He was like, man, you should come to AA. And I said, okay, cool. Let's do it. Like, and then I sessioned all for my birthday, and then a few days later I just called him. I was like, that's it, like I need to stop now. And I called him, and I didn't want to do it, but he picked me up and we went, and it wasn't a particularly amazing meeting, but I found profound release there. I was like, there's a room full of people like me, there's a potential answer. And then a few days later, I didn't think I'd go back. I was like, cool, I just want to get this bit over with. So I stopped drinking for a bit. Like I'll be able to control it in the future. And I had a kind of job that was paying not a job, but I was management consultant or whatever. And I lost that wage for reasons that I was about to say outside of my control, probably because I wasn't doing enough, to be honest. But I lost that, and I was a bit worried about how to pay rent. And I was really, I was like, fuck, I'm back in this place again. And I called Alex, because they say, call someone if you're going through something. And he was like, he kind of laughed and was like, man, this is good. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you don't know what's about to happen to you, man. He was like, this is probably the best thing that could happen to you. And I was like, what? He was like, just keep coming back to these rooms and watch what happens. And I wanted to drink that day, and I didn't. And I went to another meeting. Someone talked about praying and faking it till you make it. That's why when you said universe earlier, I got goosebumps. I don't believe particularly in a God, but I definitely believe in a God. I believe in the universal field of consciousness. I believe there's something bigger than me that I'm connected to. I believe that we're infinite energy in spirits in a vessel having a physical or spiritual thing. But anyway, so I had someone say pray on it. I came home, I prayed for a few things that they kind of suggest, kind of faking it till I make it. And then one of the things I prayed for was opportunity. And literally the next day I got a phone call from an old friend of mine saying, oh, do you want to run a workshop at my office, a poetry workshop for National Poetry Day? We'll pay this much, which was a healthy amount. And I was like, yes, I will. And then I went and ran this workshop with my friend Cam Bloomfield. It was profound. And I was like, there's a business idea here. Something listened.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of a beautiful change. And I kept on going back, and every day got better. When I came to your guys' podcast the first time, you were describing it, saying that every month, one of you said it's like an octopus on your head, and the leg comes off every month. And every month I was like, man, I feel a little bit lighter. Maybe one day I'll be on a podcast to tell them. And every day they say it gets better and better. I'm telling you, I don't know if anyone's like listening who's super curious. It gets better and better and better, man. And it gets so much better. Like every day, my life I'm not like, what the fuck did I do last night? But not only just that, not only no hangovers and no like regrets or cringe mostly, but profound, beautiful things and synchronicities are happening in my life. Yeah. And that has come from me giving up alcohol, me on this journey becoming, kind of hopefully aligned spiritually, realizing it's bigger than me and I'm part of a bigger thing. Stop being so selfish. And when you start being a bit more selfless and being of use to people, as well as being like I used to find sober people scary, like when you guys talk to me, and you know, I'm almost like, fuck, that's intense, man. These guys are the same person they were yesterday and the day before and the day before.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, they can see right through me. Like, and now I feel like I've become one of those people. You get to know yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I can't really be made uncomfortable. I might get a little bit socially anxious sometimes, but that's more just because I'm like, should I be here or at home watching Netflix?
So true though, man. That I think there's something so freeing in realizing that like nothing really matters. Do you know what I mean? It's so fascinating. Like I was talking to my partner about this the other day. Like, you know, we both work in management. It's wildly stressful. And then I was watching a TV show about like an A&E nurse, and I was like, hang on, like that stress that I'm having, yeah, okay, it's relative, but like it's nothing. I'm such a part of a bigger thing here, which is so irrelevant to this stress. And I think in sobriety, you just learn to let so much of that go, and it doesn't have to be like super deep. It can be like super surface level, but I think, like you said earlier, I really picked up on that thing. You did 4 months sober, which for you at that time was huge. And all it took was that one moment.
100%.
And quicker than you know it, you're back there.
100%.
And the world caves in and suddenly everything is like on top of you. And then now you've just got this like, I can see it in you and it's amazing. And it's actually amazing you've still got this. How long are you?
352 days.
I mean, that's like, he's got what I had, the 30-day pink cloud, nearly a year in. Like, this guy's got that insufferable pink cloud, and I love it. I'm here for it, because that's me.
Mate.
You're like the golden retriever of sobriety. I'm the same, much to Tom's dismay most of the time. But
I was like
mate,
a wounded fox. That
you were like
coaxed.
pure roadkill.
Yeah.
Someone's there being like, hey, we've got a nice dinner tonight, son.
Mate, I spent fucking 6 months at Battersea before I was I had to be get my pink cloud.
Mate, it's true. It's true, bruv.
Oh, mate.
I just realized fucking, I don't know. I've realized that without substance or chemical in my body, I'm like really naturally optimistic, which is something
but that's
I'm
beautiful.
super surprised by. Another thing is gratitude, man. I know you guys send each other your gratitude list. You told me in the gym recently. I write a gratitude list every morning, even when I don't want to. At the beginning, I thought it was silly. Just like you with the A&E nurse. Every time I'm like, oh man, this thing is like, I just had a, negative thing happen to me a few days ago, lost a big revenue stream. That would have sent me into a spiral, a few years ago. And I was like, okay, maybe I should have, like, for the first time ever, I felt those things wake up in me, but I don't want to write a gratitude. I need to make money. Then, like, I'm more comfortable than I've ever been, but I still was like, like little bits came out of me. I'm writing my gratitude list because I know that this shit works. And then suddenly I'm like, I have everything I need and I will make that money again. Today, on the way here, I found that I'm going to make that money again and more through, like, just on the way here. And that's from praying to the universe. Let's say I don't have a faith, I don't have a religion. My dad was brought up Muslim, my mum was brought up Catholic. They raised me as an atheist / humanist, in my dad's words.
Nice.
So I haven't had this discussion with him about God yet, because I know it's going to be a big one, because he's very atheist, humanist. But I'm learning this energy share. If you have clear energy and you're in the flow state and you believe in something bigger than you, which takes practice, it's like a muscle, through gratitude, through prayer. I started going, money's going to come to me. I'm so grateful for what I've got. Look how good my life is compared to a year ago. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I get a call literally on the way here. Oh, this thing's happening. Like, because I just lost a few grand a month, and then I just got this call. And like, I was like, I know I'm going to be cool. Things are going to work out. A year ago, I would have gone off the fucking edge and woe is me. And made, you know what I mean? Just having the faith and writing a gratitude list every morning. I have such a beautiful girlfriend. I have such a beautiful life. I have flexible work. I do passionate work. I help people along the way. And it's like, it pinched me that I'm even on this podcast talking to you both about this all. Like, it's insane. It's literally insane.
But this is such a beautifully raw and great chat. I'm loving it. This is, I think, we're like format wise, we're kind of thrown out the window, but I think it's so nice because it's like sometimes we go really granular, don't we, into people's like journey pre-sobriety, and I'm loving this episode because it's like you're, I guess, just like a poster boy for like how great life can be post it. And actually like not, obviously you've gone through through a 12-step program, etc., but like that idea that like in sobriety anything's possible, mate, and good things can come.
100%. And this is what I meant about the law of attraction. Tom getting sober in our group and fly the last couple of years. Like I kind of know you, but
Yeah,
we met
yeah.
a few times. You are flying. Like, this podcast is doing so well. I came to see you guys at Leicester Square Theatre. It was amazing having a full audience listening to you talking about sobriety. Insane. Some
Yeah,
people
what the
would.
fuck was
Yeah, that was insane.
surreal.
Yeah.
That was insane. And you getting sober and having your shit together. I was with you for one day, that day when I came to watch this podcast, and you were taking calls from this label, this deal, this thing. Well, you're so on your shit. And I was like, man, he's so cool right now. Like, I'm fucked up. And then now, like, you know, let's say there was me and Cam were talking about today. If I've got a friend who's doing well, I used to go, oh, they are not texting me back, or they haven't called me back. Like, because I had a lot of spare time because I was hungover a lot, you know. Now I'm so busy and I'm being the shit, and I'm like, like, it's because when you're sober, you do more. One of the other things that you guys said and stuck with me, and I've said it in loads of meetings, you said that you get another day of the week. You know, when you first said that, I was like, what are you talking about? Bruv, I've got multiple days of the week, and time has slowed down. So I've got months of the year,
mate,
like,
so true.
I'm present. I'm actually like, okay, what's going on here? Like, I'm mindful, you know, all these things. I was so erratic and so caught up in the neural pathways of destruction. And now I'm like, okay, observe,
I
don't
think
become.
that's so bang on though, because like for me now, and I know you're the same, Thomas, like we can get up, exercise, go, like you do golf, I go do what I do, then you start working, then you can like give yourself some time because you've been so on top of it to like have an hour in the day to like do something else. Then I can do this, then I can do that, then I can do something else, then I can see some family, and I'm like, fuck, I've done like 7 things today.
Yeah.
And it's a Monday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And you get your head on the pillow and you go, that was a pretty good day, and I've got a busy day tomorrow. Purpose, man. And I saw Jordan Peterson say something about addiction, like if you have to find something more exciting and more fulfilling than the addiction.
Yeah.
You have to have a purposeful life. You have to, whether it's through faith or whether it's through doing purposeful work, usually anything that's going to get you out of yourself and into a community or to help people, or whether it's art, you know, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just know that it's possible and people can.
So true, isn't it? Because I saw one of our previous guests, Spencer Matthews, has just completed his
Mate, I saw that today.
30
Insane.
marathons in 30 days.
across the desert,
In the
which is
fucking
like
triple
which is
legend.
wild. And actually, what the weird thing is he's actually been getting faster as the time's gone on. Because you think like put someone in a an environment like that, it's going to be a struggle. But he's actually just been PBing for the last like 5-6 days. So, but I actually saw someone comment like he was like, "Oh, on day 27, 3 left to go, blah blah blah," and someone comment, and I think he did a post with the Telegraph, and it was talking about his relationship with drink, and he was saying, well, I was sober for 4 years. He's like, I now don't class myself as sober because I drink on very rare occasions. And then I saw someone comment, like a really negative comment about the marathon running, going, oh, nice to see you've just channeled one addiction into another, blah blah blah. And he replied to it going, I know you meant that as an insult, but actually I'm really proud of it. He's like, I've absolutely channeled it into something else that I'm really like passionate and is actually.
Oh no, he's raised $500,000 for charity. Well, wanker.
No. He's got a Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
Donut.
Yeah.
So it's
But
like,
he wishes he was still doing coke in a fucking.
Yeah, in the kitchen. Yeah, chatting shit.
do you know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy, but yeah, you're right. You need to find something that gives you more purpose, more like whatever that is. And
I'm pretty sure there's a TED talk on how addiction could be a superpower if you use it the right way. I'm addicted to the gym now, which is wild. Again, like the reason I'm saying it's wild because you knew me a year ago. Like I didn't even think about that stuff. I'm addicted to my morning routine, which is gratitude and ice bath. I don't want to sound like one of those wankers, but things that I try and get. I try and
you
get
are
those.
fully official ice bath wanker.
Oh God, I shouldn't have said that, man. I'll take it back. I'm still cool. I'm still fun, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah, you guys
Gene's
still
hiding a bottle of vodka under the drawer.
God, don't tell me that. No, I'm joking. You guys still like me, right?
I love it, man. But no, but that's that, mate. There's so much beauty in that, and that's why this is a really fun episode, because actually like sobriety doesn't have to be this one size fits all. Like, oh no, you can't do anything fun. Like we should all still be able to laugh about getting fucked up,
mate.
joke about getting fucked up. Like we met that person at Reading Festival and we both had zeros and we were joking, being like, it's actually all the podcast is a complete lie. We're a fun nut right now. You've all been fooled. But and obviously some people are more sensitive to it than not, but that's what we really wanted to do in this space, which we are so grateful to be embraced by everyone, which is like, doesn't have to be everyone just sat there being like, oh no.
100%. You've made it relatable.
Man?
There's some really, I've got a friend that I work with closely, and he like gets annoyed at the sobriety Instagrams and like, because they're just so almost preachy sometimes, and I hate that shit too. You guys make it relatable. You make it like you're one of the guys, one of
we
the girls.
said no motivational quote memes was our like social thing.
Yeah, that was the kind of thing. And like we said before as well, like not everyone, certainly for this podcast as well, like not everyone needs to go sober to go and
100%,
do all that stuff.
100%.
But I think like if you're as inclined to, you know, and have unhealthy drinking tendencies to the point that certainly I did, maybe you did, and you did.
Maybe I did.
Maybe.
Come on, bro.
Possibly.
But mate, I was fucking sniffing Peru out of business.
Do you know what I mean? Like for us, it was the only viable option, and you know, it was the only thing to do. And it's these beautiful things can happen. Maybe not everyone, like we talked about, like the girls earlier, for example, going and getting a mini bottle of wine and having a couple of like 2 ciders at a day in a festival. Like them, sobriety for them won't give them as much as it's given us, because they're not intent on ruining their lives every day.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, they're probably already living at a decent capacity of like, you know, of gratitude and all this cool stuff. So it doesn't, you know, total sobriety isn't for everyone, but for those people that are like drinking a lot and questioning it and immersing themselves into Quit Lit and podcasts and have ended up this far through this episode without, you know, questioning it, then
100%. I think, you know, if I could drink normally, I probably would. You know, maybe I wouldn't now, knowing what I know about how much like better I feel in general. But I would say, if you feel like you always have an undercurrent of angst and despair, and you never really feel settled, you never really feel comfortable, and you drink a lot or do drugs a lot, try not drinking for a month and see if the angst and despair softens. Try not drink for 2 months and see if you start feeling joy instead of pain at night. You know, try not drinking for a year and you might end up on this podcast.
Mate, well, no, but it's so true. Like we did an episode the other week about like, is sobriety really worth it? And we were like, well, is this a clickbaity title? But actually, like the end of the episode, I just ran through Tom. Like, here's a list of things. Tell me yes or no. Have these things improved since you've gone sober? And it was like fitness, anxiety, relationship, life, money, like outlook, career, blah, blah, blah. And the answer to every single one of yours was yes. And the answer to every single one of mine was yes. And I would assume the answer to every single one of yours is
100%.
yes. And I don't think there's a single person I know that's gone sober that's gone, my life has got worse. So even if you are sober curious and can moderate, like, there's still something in exploring it, because I don't know anyone that hasn't created beautiful opportunity for themselves in sobriety.
100%.
Like, and similarly to you with this, you know, I lost a huge client earlier this year. 3 years ago, that would have sent me fucking west. I would have got off my fucking nut, completely self-destructed, and thought I was the worst person in the world and gone fucking nuts. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I was a bit sad for a couple of days. And then since then, I've created infinitely more opportunity, and now my horizons personally and professionally are more exciting than ever.
Yeah,
so
man.
like it's just, and it's so hard, because that version of Jamie that existed, and I'm sure that version of Sami and that version of Tom 3-4 years ago for all of us, like that version would now look at me being like, what? Like, you're cool?
You know, I say this now fully without any form of like, it's not my ego talking, but I know that I definitely did put a flag in the sand for a lot of people, as did you. And I think just naturally, if you're a socialite and you're out and you're partying a lot and you go sober, just by default, it makes a difference to people, because they go, how the fuck? Why the fuck? Start asking questions. And they're like, oh, actually, but it shows that there's a life possible beyond just getting fucked up.
100%. And I didn't think that was possible really until I saw you do it. You know, massive part of my, you did not only like were still cool, you were cooler. You know what I mean? The way that I looked at you and the way that you shone through, and people started talking about you, you know, as a reliable person and a businessman, and maybe Hollins would be involved. You know, the energy changed. That, like, I'm like, oh damn, like I know I have potential. And for years I'm like, what's holding me back? What's holding me back?
Yeah.
Why won't it happen for me? Yeah. And you know, just like you said about opportunity and disaster, I'm reading a book at the moment called The 7 Energy Codes. I'd really recommend it to anyone. And basically says there are two sides of a coin. One is like, I can't remember the exact words and I'm probably going to ruin it, but like, one is woe is me and pity and why is the world against me, and the other is opportunity. So when bad things happen, you kind of go, okay, what lesson is there here? And you stay in gratitude and you keep your frequency high so that you can vibrate with the world, and you know, good things can happen. Or if you go inwards and self-pity and tie all these knots in your energy, then you're not going to be an attractive person to the universe, so that positive things don't particularly happen. Separating the spirit and mind, essentially. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit way off, but like, I'm trying to live in my spirit self and not my mind. By that, I mean, I observe my thoughts and I try not to become them, not always, but I know that behind my mind and my nervous system is a spirit, an energy that has been here, and I'm part of the universe that is essentially eternal. I'm not saying that I'm an eternal spirit, but I have access to that energy. So when things in my nervous system, in my chest gets tight or my brain starts going erratically and it goes into negative thoughts, I've been practicing this. I just try and separate it and watch it and go speak to myself calmly and kindly and go, thank you for trying to protect me, because that's what it is my amygdala and my body trying to protect me from past traumas or negative things that have happened in the past. I go, thank you for doing that, but I'm okay now. I'm okay here today. Instead of going, what the fuck? And then going into a deeper spiral, my brain going wilder. And once I've started doing that more and more frequently, when things start going on like that, I just try to be still. I do sound like a wanker. To be honest.
No,
it's just true. That's how I've
like
been getting
it,
through so much stuff. You know, I could very quickly lose myself.
I listened to a podcast earlier, and it was something so simple, but it really struck a chord with me. And it was the idea that, like, if you're like geeing yourself up to do something right, do you say like, I've got this, or like, we've got this? And I was like, I would say like, oh, we've got this. And they were like, well, that's fascinating, because you're talking to different versions of yourself, because there are always different versions of yourself that are doing it. And I think the non-sober me would have been like, I've got this, because you're egotistical. You think that you've got complete control of it. Whereas now I'm completely aware that I have different states, of which, yes, some is my inner child, some is me now, some is old me, trying to suss it all out. And if I say we've got this, and I can think in the moment, I'm like really clear about like what I'm going for, rather than like me.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny that when you're drinking or, you know, non-sober, I didn't realize how selfish I was. You know, you don't realize how selfish you are. Really, when I hear some of the stories, I'm like, wow. When I spoke to my sponsor, I was like, I don't think I'm that selfish, man. I'd always buy a round.
innit? I always got a bag in.
Yeah.
Mate, it's so interesting, isn't it? But I still firmly believe it's like the, I'm sure it's that Paulo Coelho, but The Alchemist. I'm sure it's like, based on that I'm still very grateful that it's like the whole concept of like, you know, going on a quest to find the treasure, and the treasure ends up being back where it started, but you had to do the whole book, the whole journey, the whole trip around the planet to actually come to the conclusion that actually you had it there all along.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have found it unless you'd been on the journey.
Yeah.
And it's
within you, essentially.
Yeah, it's within you. And I think that's what sobriety is. Like, I wouldn't, if I hadn't pushed myself so far, I'm probably the same with you, and done all the shit you've done, you wouldn't have done it, and you wouldn't find the benefits. And
100%. I don't really, I have some regrets, obviously, but I'm not sad about it. Like, I don't live in it. I look back, but I don't stare, I think is something that people say, which is like firstly, the friendships and the connections and the life that I've built, you know, a lot of that was involving in partying and the life that I led, but also, you know, a lot of self, you know, just like you said, the journey, self-knowledge, self-awareness, and like coming out of that kind of drunk bubble, and I'm almost being like a teenager with my emotions and like relearning those things, but with the kind of wisdom I've got drunk. But like, it's just a really intense first few months, but towards finding, you know, to be okay in my own body, which is the treasure at the end of the thing. I'm on a journey. I'm not there all the time, but like 80% of my day, I'm pretty chill, man. Like, and I used to be like, one day would be like 10 days of, what's going on here? Oh shit, got to deal with this, got to put out that fire. Now I'm more like, okay, cool. What's up today? Do you know what I mean?
Hey, I'm the same, even with the stress of my job. Like, some days are so stressful, but I ring one of my colleagues at the end of the day. I'm like, we did it.
Yeah,
and
man.
if we haven't done it, it's because it's not on our heads.
Yeah.
Like, just got to try and
Yeah,
not
100%.
not live with that, because there's so much in the world we can't control.
That's it, man.
You know?
Releasing control, controlling what you can, but also letting go of control when necessary.
Yeah.
It's so important. And I think as alcoholics, a lot of people are, they're really controlling. They want the world to be the way that it is. Now something might annoy me a little bit, or things are going a little bit, and I might get all tight up. I'm like, what is getting stressed about it going to do? And I relax my shoulders. I just physically, this isn't, I'm saying it, but it's not like an easy process for me. This is taking lots of time, and it takes me a lot of time. But my point is, I now have the tools to do those things.
Yeah.
And I go, I can't control this. Why are you trying to control? Like, let it be. Like me coming here, was a little bit nervous downstairs, but before I would have been shitting myself, Don't fucking say something stupid. Don't fucking, you know what I mean? And I was just like, well, can I let it be, man? It's going to be all right.
Right.
Well, and also in sobriety, I think we surrender the stupidness, for example, because you're like, well, that was a version of me that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So like if someone was like, oh, that guy was fucking nightmare, he used to do loads of gear or do stupid shit, I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's
so
true.
what? Like,
It's true.
only I can judge former me, and you can probably still judge former me.
Yeah.
And that's
probably
fine.
still are. Yeah.
That's why I was so at peace with my 4 best men at my wedding absolutely roasting me, because I was like, that version of me died.
I was like, that was wild, man.
That was one of the most roasted
yeah.
best men speeches I've ever heard.
That was wild.
I was sat there like, sheesh.
Yeah, literally.
But then you got them back, so completely fair.
Yeah, it was good.
Your speech was great. That was honestly, I was like fucking well, because I wasn't secure in my sobriety. I think at that stage, really, like I was, but I still was
You were,
uncomfortable.
3 months in?
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 months. And when you did your speech, bruv, looking all dapper and shit, I was like, bruv, he's got it. Like he gets it. That's what I mean about the attraction thing. I'm like, I want that. I want to stand up at my wedding and be cool as. Like,
That still took a lot of work though, in the same way that you're doing it now, to actually just be able to composure, because I wasn't feeling it, but you have to just do it.
Yeah.
And it's
That's the thing about
different
just
beast.
doing it, like you said about your day being stressful. It's like I'm not just chilled and like I'm not attacking life. To grow, you have to attack life, and when you attack life, you get more purpose. And now we have the energy to do so. Like things aren't particularly easy, but I just am a bit more mindful of my actions and kindness and love, and all that shit that comes with like looking at yourself
100%.
and being disgusted.
Oh god! Well, I think it might be time.
Time for the big three,
So
baby.
big 3. So question 1, for anyone who is thinking about going on a journey of sobriety, contemplating it, what would your single best piece of advice be?
If you're thinking about it, you probably should. And I promise you, on the other side of it is a joy and a life that you didn't even know was possible. I think that is...
Yeah, I like that. If you're thinking about it, you probably should.
True. But also, if that's cocaine, don't.
Yeah. Unless you can. I don't know. It's a fine line. You have to work the one out yourself.
What is the single best thing that sobriety has brought you?
Evoke. I have found and created a business. By the way, when I said I lost a client earlier, it was from a side hustle, not Evoke. Very important. Evoke, I found such a great purpose in it. Like I said, a few days into sobriety, prayed for opportunity, got offered, to run a workshop. And since then, we've been running amazing creative writing and wellness workshops in corporate or schools or care homes and really, really helping people, but also allowing me to have a living. So it's really powerful work. And, me and Cam, my business partner, we're talking today. If I didn't have that purpose, it would be if I was still trying to just be an artist full time, I don't know if I'd still be sober. But I've started to work with other people and use my skills to enhance, their daily lives with some tips and tricks and meditation, breath work, and like creative writing practices for meditative purposes. So every time I do it, I'm like, fuck, it's so moving, and I'm doing something for someone else, but in return, I'm having a great life and enjoying it. Like that has kept me sober, as well as, 12-step program and other things, because I'm fulfilled in my work, But I have to say my girlfriend too, man. Like, I know you said single thing, but my relationship, we've been together 13 years. This is the best it's ever been. She told me the other day she's the happiest she's ever been.
I love that.
That's amazing, man. And just as a sidebar, Cam, who you do Evoke with, is also the same guy that told you he had to stop working with you professionally,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
So
I
there
didn't
you
think
go,
about
you're now
that.
business
Yeah.
partners.
Now we're business partners and we're
Man,
flying.
I saw that video you put up the other day from one of your workshops, and it looked really powerful.
Yeah, man.
So we'll share that.
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
share
it's
it, man.
important that
Like,
our
thank
listeners,
you.
like hear your words that you put out, because I think it's really important.
Yeah.
It's great, and I
appreciate
think
that,
also
thanks.
I think it's also a great thing to do, and I think it's great that like it's almost like corporations and corporate world is actually embracing that as well, because it's offering like something else for their employees and people to go and do that isn't the norm.
100%, man. The first one we did actually, like, you know, I didn't really know what to expect, but at the end of it, people opened up. We asked people to explore their emotions and write down 3 things they've really felt recently, and like then we kind of put it into a spider diagram and then draw off the color it makes them. We build all these metaphors and stuff, and as well as other stuff, but we build a poem essentially and help them write one. And when I asked people has someone share what they've been going through, one guy put his hand up, and you know, I'm not going to share exactly what it was, but it was something really heavy, and like I was like, fuck. Someone else wrote about being so suicidal but grateful for their friends. Someone else said they were lonely, and at the end of it, people were hugging, crying, and we've spoke to them since, and they're booking meetings with each other where they weren't before. They weren't speaking. They're like, oh, you might have thought that guy's a dick, but now you know what he's going through, and now you want to go for a pint after work to discuss it, a non-alcoholic pint. But yeah, and we did it with some tech millionaires recently, like didn't know what to expect at all. The same effect, people were really breaking down really like profound stuff, man. And this is why I put it down to the universe, and it's bigger than me. I prayed for opportunity. Suddenly I'm helping people, and people are really responding. You know, it's been non-stop. Every single one I found is fucking magical, because I think everyone's innately creative. Some people just don't know they are. And you go into a corporate office and people at first like, I don't really want it. I don't know, you know, there's a cocky sales guy or something. So I don't really, whatever.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Because maybe they're vulnerable, they don't want to do it. And then suddenly by the end of it, they're really in it. They've written something amazing about their girlfriend or something. They stand up and share it. And it's really moving, and they're like, thanks, keys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's really,
Man, that's
really
so good.
amazing stuff. And yeah, like it's just the synchronicity of me getting sober and this happening, like this big opportunity where I actually finally feel like I've got really purposeful work. Being an artist is really purposeful, but as you both know, it's like you spend most of the days going, am I gonna make it? Is it gonna work? Like, you know, it's a difficult place to be, not for you anymore, but for up and coming artists, it's a difficult place to be mentally. You know, that's why there's so much addiction in the music industry. You're being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, but you're also it's kind of a, I don't know, I don't want to be offensive, but I realized this about myself. It was kind of selfish. I'm like, look at me. I've got this thing. I've got this talent. I've got this music, you know.
Why does no one love me?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you're getting kicked down the stairs. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And finally, Sammy, we would love Sammy now to write Drunk Sammy a letter. So if you could start Dear Sammy, what would you say to him?
I like have on purpose not tried to make this in my head, but now I wish I had. A letter to my drunk self. Dear Sammy, it's going to be okay. You've made it through 100% of the days that you've been through. You're going to find the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it doesn't feel like it, and it feels like you're in despair and angst and things won't get better. But there is a life beyond your wildest dreams that you don't know is coming. You don't need to take drink or to take drugs to fill that hole. You need to look externally for that hole, to fill that hole. What you're searching for isn't at the end of a bottle. It's in a community. It's in doing things for other people. It's of being of service. You're holding yourself back. You've got a light, and if you dim it, it's selfish. The sooner you realize that, the quicker you'll get to the joy. Life isn't all struggling with little bits of beauty. Life is beautiful with little bits of struggling, and we're going to be all right. And I love you. Fuck me, that's a bit of a profound experience, isn't it?
Man, I love that.
That was great.
That was beautiful.
That was a proper word with yourself.
That is wild.
Yeah, man.
You should be so proud of where you are, man. Even that guy I met on the boat a year ago, it's like, it's different.
Yeah, mate.
You good?
Yeah, what the fuck just happened to me?
Man, you should be
That
proud,
was
bro.
wild. I haven't.
Mate,
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
and-
thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank
That was
you,
amazing. It's a great
guys.
chat.
Fuck
I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that was that's
Same,
special.
man. I'm talking about all this wellness and shit. I haven't done that kind of shit once to myself. That is
Yeah.
wild. Thank you so
But
much.
that's what I
guys.
was saying, man. We get so much out of this because it's like there's genuine human connection and all
Mm.
these interactions, and I think that's the beautiful thing about it. So,
Thank you so much, man. You lot are doing powerful, powerful work, and may it continue.
Thanks, mate.
till,
Likewise.
till the bitter end, man. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much.